Thanks for listening, Empower Audio. Please support us by share, comment, like, and subscribing. Let's start. Rebuild Your Passion by Empower Audio. Passion is one of the most misunderstood forces in the world. People talk about it as if it is something rare, something magical, something only the lucky ones get to experience. They talk as if passion is a treasure waiting to be found, like a calling whispered from the universe to a chosen few. But the truth is far simpler and far more empowering. Passion is not discovered. Passion is created. Passion is constructed through experience, repetition, curiosity, joy, challenge, and growth. Passion is an emotional bond between you and the work that brings you alive. And that bond is built like any relationship, slowly, intentionally, and with attention. In this audiobook, we will dismantle the myths about passion and replace them with something real, practical, and achievable. You will learn how to cultivate passion in your daily life, in your work, in your creativity, in your relationships, and in yourself. You will learn how passion grows, how passion deepens, and how passion expands into purpose. And most importantly, you will learn how to create passion even if right now you feel numb, directionless, or disconnected from yourself. This journey begins with a simple truth. Passion starts with curiosity, not with certainty, not with clarity, not with a grand vision. Curiosity is the spark. It is the small tug at your attention. It is the quiet voice that says, I want to explore this. I want to try this. I want to know more. You do not need to feel electric excitement. You only need a small opening, a small whisper of interest. Passion is built by following that whisper wherever it leads. Imagine you walk into a garden. At first, nothing stands out. But then, one flower catches your eye. You don't know why. Maybe it's the color. Maybe it's the shape. Maybe it's nothing you can name. But you walk toward it. You lean in. You look a little closer. And suddenly you feel a moment of connection. That is how passion begins, with the willingness to look again, to get closer, to explore what draws your attention. Too many people wait for the lightning bolt. They wait for a moment of certainty. They wait for the perfect idea, the perfect path, the perfect calling. But passion rarely arrives as certainty. It arrives as tiny pulls, gentle interests, small sparks. And when you follow those sparks, they lead you somewhere meaningful. So the first step in creating passion is to let go of the expectation that passion should feel obvious. Instead, pay attention to what feels interesting, what feels enjoyable, what feels alive. Passion begins in whispers, not shouts. Now, once curiosity leads you to a spark, something else must happen. There must be action. You must try the thing. You must taste it, touch it, hold it, move with it. Passion grows through experience. You cannot think your way into passion. You cannot dream your way into passion. You must do, because the brain builds passion through repeated emotional reward. You try something, you enjoy something, and your brain releases dopamine, and dopamine makes you want to come back. That is how passion begins to form. Think of the skills you love now: cooking, drawing, writing, herbalism, psychology, bodywork, anything. You didn't fall in love with them before doing them. You fell in love with them because you did them repeatedly, because you improved, because you saw progress, because you felt good while doing them. Passion is not the starting point. It is the result. This is why repetition matters. Every time you return to something you enjoy, you deepen the neural pathways that bind you to it emotionally. Repetition builds familiarity. Familiarity builds confidence. Confidence builds passion. And passion builds a desire for mastery. It becomes a cycle that feeds itself. But passion also needs something else. It needs permission. Permission to be imperfect. Permission to evolve. Permission to be messy in the beginning. You cannot build passion. if you demand perfection. You cannot build passion if you expect immediate skill. You cannot build passion if you shame yourself for being a beginner. The early stages must be playful, exploratory, full of grace and patience. Passion lives where pressure is low and curiosity is high. As you begin exploring, you will find that passion has a physical quality. It feels like energy. It feels like focus. It feels like connection. Sometimes it feels like flow, that beautiful state where time disappears, self-consciousness fades, and you are fully merged with what you are doing. Flow is one of the most powerful emotional states a human being can experience, and it is deeply linked to passion. But flow requires challenge. Not too hard, not too easy, just enough to stretch you without breaking you. When your brain is fully engaged, passion deepens. To create space for flow, you must remove distractions. You must create rituals. These could be as simple as lighting a candle, turning on music, sitting in a particular place, or breathing slowly before beginning. Your nervous system responds to ritual. It prepares your body to enter focus, presence, and emotional engagement. Over time, these rituals tell your mind, this is where we feel passionate. This is where we come alive. Now, passion cannot grow in isolation. It is amplified in community. When you surround yourself with people who care about the same things you are exploring, their enthusiasm becomes contagious. Their energy fuels your own. Their curiosity deepens your connection. This is why hobbies flourish in groups, why dreams grow when shared, why ideas expand when spoken aloud. Passion thrives in connection. But just as passion is amplified in community, it is destroyed by comparison. If you measure your early stages against someone else's mastery, your passion will collapse. You must protect your connection to the thing you love by honoring your own pace, your own journey, your own evolution. Comparison is the thief of passion. Presence is the protector of passion. As time passes, something else will happen. Your curiosity will shift. Your interests will evolve. The tiny spark you began with may turn into something larger, deeper, more refined. For example, you may begin with an interest in herbs. That spark becomes passion for herbal medicine. That passion becomes a desire to help others heal. That desire becomes a calling. You must allow passion to evolve into purpose without forcing it. Passion grows roots when it is allowed to expand naturally. Now, we must talk about clarity. Many people say, I don't know what I'm passionate about. But the truth is that passion often becomes clear only after you begin. You cannot know the destination before the journey. Purpose reveals itself through movement. So if you feel unclear, remember, clarity comes from action, not thought. As you continue exploring your passions, you will find that they are deeply connected to meaning. Humans crave meaning. We want our lives to matter. We want to feel like our time on earth is contributing something valuable to others, to ourselves, to the world. Meaning and passion are intertwined. When something feels meaningful, it becomes easier to invest your energy into it. When something feels emotionally significant, passion blooms. So how do you cultivate meaning? You connect the activity to a deeper purpose. For example, if you like writing, you might find meaning in expressing truth, inspiring others, or healing old wounds. If you like helping people, meaning might come from witnessing transformation. If you love learning, meaning may come from expanding your understanding of the world. Passion grows when there is emotional resonance. Over time, you will learn that passion requires consistency. You cannot build it in a weekend. You cannot force it through intensity alone. Passion grows like a plant slowly, steadily, with attention. And like a plant, it needs nourishment. It needs time. It needs patience. It needs care. It needs devotion. And devotion is built through practice. As you practice, you will notice that passion makes you resilient. It gives you energy. It gives you direction. It gives you a sense of identity. Passion becomes a compass. It guides you. It shapes your choices. It clarifies your yes and your no. And eventually, passion becomes something larger. It becomes self-trust. When you follow what brings you alive, you begin to trust that your desires are meaningful, that your intuition is wise, that your inner voice is worth listening to. Passion is the gateway to alignment. But perhaps the most important thing to understand is this: passion is not a single thing. It is not fixed. It is not permanent. It is not one destiny. You will have many passions in your lifetime. Some will fade, some will deepen, some will transform. Some will evolve into entire careers, entire relationships, entire identities. Passion is alive, and because it is alive, it grows as you grow. This audiobook will guide you through every layer of passion, how it begins, how it deepens, how it evolves, and how to sustain it through the challenges of life. You will learn how to create passion in your work, in your creativity, in your relationships, and in your purpose. You will learn how to rekindle passion when it fades, how to direct your passion into meaningful action, and how to protect your passion from burnout, perfectionism, comparison, and fear. Most importantly, you will learn how to build a life that feels passionate, a life that feels awake, aligned, and alive. This is the beginning of your journey. And now we go deeper. To truly understand passion, you must understand something fundamental about human nature. We are wired for engagement. We are wired to feel alive. When we use our strengths, when we stretch ourselves, when we express what lives inside us. Passion is not a luxury. It is a biological state of aliveness, a natural expression of your deepest self. It is the alignment between what you care about and how you show up in the world. But this alignment is not automatic. It is cultivated, and the cultivation begins with listening. Listening to the small internal signals that tell you what feels good, what feels energizing, what feels meaningful, what feels right in your body. Passion is a conversation between your heart and your actions, and for most people, that conversation has been interrupted by noise, expectations, fears, obligations, self-doubt, comparison, cultural pressure. To create passion, you must learn to quiet the noise. Imagine standing in a room full of people talking. Everyone is shouting their opinions, their expectations, their standards. They are telling you who you should be, what you should want, how you should live your life. But somewhere in the middle of all that noise is your own voice. Soft, gentle, patient. Your intuition, your true self. The one you were before the world told you who to be. Passion grows from listening to that voice. Not the loud ones outside you, the quiet one within you. But how do you hear it? Through presence, through slowness, through curiosity, through asking yourself simple but powerful questions like, what makes me feel alive? What do I enjoy learning about without being told to? What do I naturally talk about when I'm excited? What activities make me lose track of time? What have I always been drawn to, but never allowed myself to explore? Your answers may surprise you. They may whisper truths you ignored for years. They may reveal long-forgotten interests or hidden desires. Passion often emerges from the parts of yourself you have not let breathe. Once you begin listening, you must take the next step, exploration. Passion grows through movement. When you try things, you create emotional data. You learn what lights you up and what drains you. You learn what calls you forward and what leaves you numb. Exploration is essential because passion often hides in unexpected places. You might discover you love something you never imagined yourself doing. You might realize you feel passionate about something you dismissed in the past. You might find yourself pulled towards something that doesn't fit your career or your image, but fits your soul. Passion is not always convenient, but it is always honest. As you explore, you will find that passion is deeply connected to energy, not the energy of caffeine or excitement, but the energy of emotional resonance. When you are moving in the direction of passion, you feel a natural lift, a lightness, a sense of inner expansion. Your nervous system relaxes, your breathing deepens, your attention sharpens, your mind becomes alert, focused, present. This is because passion activates the brain's reward system. It reinforces the activity through dopamine, connection, excitement, and meaning. Your body recognizes passion even before your mind does. So pay attention to your energy. It is one of the most reliable compasses you have. But passion also requires something many people underestimate: safety. You cannot feel passionate when you are in survival mode. You cannot feel passionate when you are constantly overwhelmed, anxious, or stretched thin. Passion needs emotional spaciousness. It needs room to breathe. So part of creating passion is creating conditions that allow your nervous system to feel safe. That means rest, boundaries, pauses, breathing room, self-compassion, time with yourself, time in nature, silence, stillness, slowing down. Many people think they lack passion, but what they really lack is space. They are so exhausted, so overstimulated, so overwhelmed by responsibilities and noise that their inner fire has no room to burn. When you create room in your life, even small pockets of room passion begins to rise again. As passion rise, you will notice something else. It pulls you into your strengths. Passion and strengths are deeply connected. You are naturally passionate about the things you are built for, the things your brain and body are designed to excel at. When you use your strengths, you feel capable. When you feel capable, you feel confident. And confidence accelerates passion. So ask yourself, what am I naturally good at? What feels intuitive to me? What do others appreciate in me? What activities make me feel like myself? Your strengths reveal the places where passion can thrive. Now we must talk about mastery, a word often misunderstood. Mastery is not perfection. It is intimacy. It is depth. It is the feeling of knowing something well enough that it becomes part of you. Mastery grows passion because the deeper you go into something, the more connected you become to it. The more skill you develop, the more enjoyable the activity becomes. Skill unlocks pleasure, and pleasure fuels passion. But mastery requires time. And here is where most people give up. They want passion without patience. They want passion without devotion. They want passion without the early awkward stages. But those stages are essential. The beginning is rarely glamorous. It is often confusing, slow, and uncertain. But if you stay with it, something magical happens. You cross a threshold. You move from effort to flow, from confusion to clarity, from trying to becoming. And once you cross that threshold, passion begins to build itself. But passion also needs purpose. Without purpose, passion can burn out. Without purpose, passion stays shallow. Purpose is the deeper reason behind your passion. It is the meaning you attach to the activity. It is the story you tell yourself about why it matters. For example, if you love fitness, your purpose might be strength, discipline, or healing. If you love art, your purpose might be expression, beauty, or truth. If you love helping others, your purpose might be connection, compassion, or transformation. If you love business, your purpose might be freedom, creativity, or impact. Purpose is the emotional container that holds your passion. Without it, passion fades when things get difficult. But when passion is paired with purpose, it becomes resilient. It becomes something you can return to, even on the hard days. Now we must address something essential. Fear. Fear is one of the greatest obstacles to passion. Fear of failing. Fear of being judged. Fear of not being good enough. Fear of changing your path. Fear of wanting something so deeply that losing it would hurt. Fear whispers, stay comfortable, stay predictable, stay small. Passion whispers, try, explore, become, expand. To create passion, you must make peace with fear. Fear will not disappear, but it will shrink when you move anyway. Every time you act in the direction of passion, even if the step is tiny, your fear loses power and your self-trust grows. Self-trust is the foundation of passion, because passion asks you to take risks, to follow your inner pull, to choose the unknown, to believe that your desires are meaningful even when no one else understands them. Self-trust is the soil where passion grows strong roots. And those roots matter because passion will evolve, it will mature, it will deepen, and eventually it will ask you to grow with it. Passion does not stay small. Passion expands into purpose. Purpose expands into identity. Identity expands into contribution. This is the natural evolution. And by the end of this audiobook, you will understand how to move through these phases with clarity, alignment, and confidence. But before we go deeper, we must answer a simple question. What kills passion? There are 5 main killers: comparison, perfectionism, burnout, overthinking, shame. Comparison tells you you're behind. Perfectionism tells you you're not enough. Burnout tells you you're too tired to care. Overthinking silences your intuition. Shame disconnects you from your joy. To create passion, you must protect yourself from each of these. How? By anchoring yourself in presence, in curiosity, in play, in connection, and in compassion. Because passion is not a performance. It is a relationship between you and what lights you up. And, like any relationship, it needs care. In the next section, we will go deeper into the mechanics of passion, how the brain creates passion, how the body experiences passion, how the soul expresses passion, and how you can use these truths to build a life that feels meaningful, energizing, and deeply alive. To go deeper into the creation of passion, we must understand the human brain, because passion is both emotional and neurological. It is a feeling, but it is also a pattern built through repetition, reward, challenge, and meaning. When you understand how your brain responds to these ingredients, you begin to see that passion is not magic. It is a formula, a recipe, a structure you can strengthen and expand. Your brain is constantly trying to answer one question: what makes life worth investing energy in? Every decision you make is filtered through that question. Every habit you form, every routine you create, every interest you pursue, all of it is your brain deciding where to allocate energy. Passion is built when your brain repeatedly concludes, "This is worth my energy." To reach that conclusion, 4 things must occur: interest, reward, progress, growth. This is the engine of passion. Interest pulls you in. Reward keeps you coming back. Progress creates motivation. Growth deepens commitment. And when these 4 ingredients repeat enough times, passion forms. It becomes self-sustaining. You no longer need external encouragement because the internal reward is so real. But passion also needs variability. If something is too predictable, the brain loses excitement. If something is too difficult, the brain becomes overwhelmed. Passion thrives in the space between ease and challenge, the sweet spot where your skills are stretched just enough to inspire you. Think about any pastime you love. It probably didn't start with mastery. It started with curiosity. Then came the small wins. Then came the challenge that kept your attention. Passion grows from this dance between comfort and stretch, pleasure and difficulty, familiarity and discovery. This is why passion is not created through perfection. It is created through learning. Your brain loves learning, real learning, the kind that requires effort, creativity, problem solving, presence, and engagement. Learning produces dopamine. Dopamine creates anticipation. Anticipation fuels passion. Every time you grow, your brain receives emotional proof that the activity is meaningful. This is the neuroscience of passion, and it is available to you at any time. But now we must explore something deeper, the emotional roots of passion. Passion is not only a brain pattern, it is a soul pattern. It is the expression of who you are at your core. Passion is your inner self reaching outward. It is the longing you have to create, connect, help, build, express, discover, and contribute. Passion is the part of you that wants to matter, not in the eyes of the world, but in the quiet truth of your own heart. To create passion, you must reconnect to that part of yourself, the part that longs to feel alive. This means asking questions that are uncomfortable, but essential. What do I truly want? What have I been afraid to admit to myself? What have I avoided because I feared failing at it? What do I never let myself desire because it feels too big, too unrealistic, too vulnerable? What parts of me have I silenced because they didn't fit the roles I was expected to play? Passion lives in authenticity, and authenticity lives in honesty. To create passion, you must be honest with yourself about what you care about, not what you are supposed to care about. This honesty may feel risky. Passion requires vulnerability because to care deeply is to risk hurt, disappointment, rejection, and failure. But it is far more painful to live a life that never lets you feel alive. And every moment of true passion begins with the courage to tell yourself the truth. Now, let's talk about something most people never consider: the body's role in passion. Your body is a compass. Your body communicates truth before your mind does. When you are aligned with something you care about, your body expands. Your shoulders soften. Your breath deepens. Your yav relaxes. Your attention sharpens. You feel more present. When you are misaligned, your body collapses. You feel tight. Your breath shortens. Your mind becomes foggy. Your energy drops. Passion is a felt experience. Your body knows what energizes you, even if your mind tries to talk you out of it. One of the fastest ways to create passion is to reconnect your body to your creativity, your curiosity, your interests, your voice. Movement helps. Breath work helps. Stretching helps. Grounding practices help. Passion needs physical space in order to grow. Now we move into the next layer of passion: environment. Your environment shapes your energy. Your environment shapes your mood. Your environment shapes your habits. Your environment shapes your identity. And your identity shapes your passion. If you are surrounded by chaos, noise, pressure, or negativity, your passion cannot thrive. If you are surrounded by beauty, inspiration, light, warmth, or calm, your passion flourishes. This does not mean you need a perfect environment. It means you need a supportive environment, one that reflects the person you are becoming. Sometimes the smallest shifts create the biggest changes. A clean desk, soft lighting, music that grounds you, a place dedicated to your craft, a notebook that feels sacred, a ritual before you begin. These small details tell your mind, this is important, this is meaningful, this is where we create. The more you honor your passion with intention, the more your passion honors you with growth. But now, we must talk about the enemy of passion, a force so common, so subtle, and so heavy that it suffocates creativity, interest, and joy. That enemy is burnout. Burnout is the emotional exhaustion that comes from giving too much of yourself without receiving enough in return, not from passion, but from obligation. Burnout buries passion under a blanket of numbness. When you are burned out, nothing feels exciting. Nothing feels interesting. Nothing feels emotionally available. You feel disconnected from yourself and from life. Passion cannot thrive where exhaustion lives. So, if you are trying to find passion but feel nothing, you may not be lost. You may be exhausted. Your system may need rest before it can feel desire again. Passion requires energy. Energy requires replenishment. Rest is not the enemy of passion. Rest is the soil passion grows from. This is why many people discover their passions after a season of stillness, vacations, sabbaticals, time off, shifts in identity, healing journeys. When the noise quiets, the truth becomes clearer. When the nervous system softens, passion awakens. Now we must address another destroyer of passion: comparison. Comparison kills passion because it replaces curiosity with judgment. Instead of exploring your interests, you evaluate them against someone else's achievements. Instead of allowing yourself to grow, you punish yourself for not being further along. Instead of enjoying the process, you measure your progress against a standard that was never meant for you. Comparison tells you that you are behind. Passion tells you that you are becoming. Comparison is rooted in scarcity, the fear that you are not enough. Passion is rooted in abundance, the belief that your desires matter. To protect your passion, you must practice staying in your lane. Stay focused on your growth, your progress, your journey. You are not meant to follow someone else's path. You are meant to discover your own. And now we arrive at one of the most misunderstood truths about passion. Passion does not arrive. Passion is built through identity. When you tell yourself, "I am someone who shows up," you build passion. When you tell yourself, "I am someone who grows," you build passion. When you tell yourself, "I am someone who explores," you build passion. When you tell yourself, "I am someone who tries again," you build passion. Identity shapes behavior. Behavior shape passion. Passion shape purpose. Purpose shape life. Passion is the bridge between who you are and who you are becoming. And when you build passion, you build yourself. In the next section, we will explore how to rekindle passion when it fades, how to build passion in relationships, how to align passion with work, and how passion evolves into purpose over the course of your life. To understand passion more fully, we must explore a truth that often surprises people. Passion fades when it is not fed, but it can always be rebuilt. You are not broken if you lose your spark. You are not failing if something you once loved no longer lights you up. Passion is like fire. It burns brightly when tended. It grows dim when neglected, and it can always be reignited. So, let's explore how passion fades and how to bring it back. Passion fades when the activity becomes disconnected from meaning. Passion fades when you are overwhelmed. Passion fades when you stop growing. Passion fades when you feel unseen or unappreciated. Passion fades when fear becomes louder than desire. Passion fades when you stop giving yourself permission to follow what feels alive. All of these are repairable. The first step in rebuilding passion is reconnection. Reconnecting to the original reason you cared. Sometimes we forget why we started. We forget the moment something felt new and exciting. We lose sight of the spark. Reconnection begins by remembering. Ask yourself, why did I love this in the beginning? What did this give me? What did this allow me to express? What part of me felt seen or alive through this? These questions bring you back to the emotional roots of your passion, and those roots can be watered again. The second step is reduction, removing the layers of stress, pressure, and expectation that smothered your joy. Passion cannot survive under the weight of perfection. It cannot survive when the activity becomes an obligation. Removing pressure brings back play, and play is essential for passion. Maybe you need to return to the beginner's mindset. Maybe you need to give yourself permission to do it badly. Maybe you need to try it again without worrying about being productive. Maybe you need to explore it in a new way, softer, slower, more creatively. Passion grows when you remove the walls around it. The third step is reframing, changing the story you tell yourself. Sometimes passion fades because you attach it to the wrong meaning. You turn something that brings you joy into something you must monetize, or something you must excel at, or something you must turn into a career. When passion becomes tied to pressure, it suffocates. To rebuild passion, you must rewrite the story. This is something I enjoy. This is something that brings me alive. This is something that belongs to me. This is something I choose, not something I owe. When the story changes, the feeling changes. The fourth step is refreshing, bringing novelty back into the experience. Humans thrive on novelty. The brain loves newness. Even small changes rekindle interest. Ask yourself, how can I explore this differently? Is there a new challenge I can try? A new way to learn? A new environment? A new community? A new level of depth? Passion is not static. It must evolve. Refreshing injects new life into what once felt familiar. Now, let's talk about another important dimension. Passion in relationships. Relationships require passion just as much as work does, but not the dramatic passion portrayed in movies. The real passion in relationships comes from attention, presence, curiosity, shared growth, and emotional connection. Passion in relationships is built, not discovered. It grows through communicating desires, creating new experiences together, appreciating each other's strengths, learning together, healing together, trying new things, being playful, being curious, staying open rather than closed. Passion fades in relationships when people stop learning about each other. Passion grows when people stay curious. The same is true in your relationship with yourself. When you stop being curious about who you are becoming, passion fades. When you learn about yourself, passion awakens. This brings us to one of the deepest layers of passion, your identity. Your identity is not fixed. It grows, it expands, it shifts throughout your life. And with each shift, new passions can emerge. Many people cling to an outdated identity and wonder why they feel uninspired. Passion arises when identity evolves, when you allow yourself to become someone new. Ask yourself, who am I now? Who am I becoming? What do I care about at this stage of my life? What do I desire now that I didn't desire before? What is calling me forward? Passion is a sign of growth, a sign of alignment, a sign that your inner world is matching your outer world. Now let's talk about passion in work, an area where many people feel stuck. Some believe they must have passion before choosing a career, but passion rarely appears first. Meaning appears first. Skill appears first. Confidence appears first. Passion grows later. There are 3 types of passion in work. Passion for the craft, loving the work itself. Passion for the impact, loving what the work creates for others. Passion for the lifestyle, loving the life the work allows you to have. You do not need all 3. One is enough. But you must know which one is most true for you. Some people feel alive doing the work. Some people feel alive seeing the results of the work. Some people feel alive because the work gives them freedom, time, or stability. Understanding your work-based passion frees you from unrealistic expectations. It allows you to design a work life that aligns with your values rather than one that drains you. Now we must address a powerful truth. Passion follows engagement, not inspiration. You become passionate about what you engage with repeatedly, not what you think about, not what you daydream about, not what you wait for. Passion is built through participation, through trying, through failing, through exploring, through returning, through growing. Passion is the child of consistency. Now, let's turn towards something essential. Your desire. Desire is not frivolous. Desire is not selfish. Desire is not indulgent. Desire is guidance. Desire points you toward what wants to be expressed. Desire points you toward your next chapter. Desire points you toward your soul's expansion. You create passion every time you give yourself permission to desire something, because desire is the doorway to passion. And passion is the doorway to purpose. But what is purpose? Purpose is passion in service. Purpose is passion elevated. Purpose is passion with direction. Purpose is where your gifts meet the world's needs. Purpose is where your joy meets someone else's transformation. Purpose is where your voice creates impact. Purpose is where your life becomes larger than just your life. Purpose is the evolution of passion. But passion must come first. Passion is the spark that ignites the journey. Purpose is the fire that sustains it. You cannot skip the spark. You cannot skip joy. You cannot skip the exploration. Passion is the initiation. In the next section, we will go even deeper. How passion becomes purpose. How purpose becomes calling. How calling becomes contribution. And how you build a life that feels lit from the inside. As we come to the end of this journey, I want you to remember something simple and liberating. Passion is not a gift you are born with. Passion is a relationship you choose to build. You create passion through curiosity. You grow passion through exploration. You deepen passion through presence. You sustain passion through meaning. You protect passion through boundaries. You express passion through purpose. And the beautiful thing is this: you can begin again at any moment. You can wake up tomorrow and follow a new spark. You can pick up something you once loved and breathe life back into it. You can take a small step toward a desire you ignored for years. You can let yourself evolve, soften, stretch, and grow into a new version of you. You don't need clarity before you begin. You don't need confidence before you try. You don't need the perfect plan. You don't need permission from anyone else. What you need is willingness. The willingness to explore. The willingness to listen to your inner voice. The willingness to do things that make you feel alive. Because passion is not something out there somewhere waiting for you to find it. Passion is something within you waiting for you to feed it. And when you feed it, your life begins to shift. Colors feel brighter. Ideas flow more freely. Challenges feel meaningful, not draining. You feel more connected to yourself, to others, and to your future. Because passion is energy. Passion is alignment. Passion is truth. Passion is the spark of the person you are becoming. And as passion grows, so does purpose. Purpose is not a single destination. It is the experience of using your passion in a way that creates meaning for yourself, for others, and for the world. Purpose emerges slowly through repetition, devotion, and deepening self-awareness. Purpose is not forced. It is revealed. And when passion and purpose join together, life feels different. You stop rushing. You stop competing. You stop comparing. You stop seeking approval. You stop shrinking your desire. Instead, you begin to live from the inside out. You begin to ask, what lights me up? What nourishes me? What calls me forward? What feels true? And those answers shape your path. As this audiobook comes to a close, carry these final truths with you. You are allowed to reinvent yourself. You are allowed to follow what feels good. You are allowed to grow new passions at any age. You are allowed to let old passions go. You are allowed to build a life that excites you. You are allowed to be someone who is lit from the inside. And the world needs more people like that. People who are alive, awake, expressed, connected, and aligned. Your passion is not just for you. It is for everyone who will be touched by the fullness of who you are. So take this spark with you. Follow it gently. Feed it consistently. And trust that it will grow, because it will. This is where your passion begins. This is where your purpose forms. This is where your next chapter starts. And it starts now. End of the audiobook. Empower Audio thanks you.